I just whispered to the vicar, I feel so shallow after listening to that beauty, because I got Scooby-Doo and Shaggy on my mind, of course. You know, they're really irritating. Does anybody watch them besides me?
Oh, yeah.
All right, good, Anthony. Then you know what I'm talking about, right? And those guys are constantly being tempted by everything in the world, mostly food, and dark hallways that they just have to go into. And of course, they get into trouble automatically. Now, here's the thing. In their temptations, they're always tempted by their vocation, which you would think they're just bubbleheads, which they are for the most part. But on the other hand, their vocation is really detecting and looking for signs of bad things and bad people and evil so that they can eradicate that part of the castle or the house and make people feel more secure in their lives. And yeah, it's a cartoon, but nonetheless, there is a truth there, that their calling is to help people in whatever way they can do that. And they do it, and they do it successfully with a lot of fun. Now, for you and for I, a temptation is almost always in the same fashion going to occur with you and I. We are going to be tempted by Lord knows what. But the one thing that is true, temptation will always, if you cave into it, and before you even cave, will always invite you to become something other than who you are. And that's the important thing. That's what the devil did with Jesus in the desert. Invited him to become something other than who he was as a truly human man, fully functioning as one who loved God and God who loved him. And sin and evil will always seek the flaws in your character. And you will know that you have been attacked, and you will know that the attack is successful the more there is breakage in your life. And what I mean by breakage, it could be a brokenness in your relationship with somebody that you were previously close to. Or it could be breakage in just the fact of the enjoyment and pleasure which you used to have in living, and now the days just seem to grind on and on and on, and your humor has gone away, your pleasure in living has gone away. Okay, that should let you know that temptation has hit, and that you have started to succumb to it because of the breakage which is beginning to occur around you in your life. And that's how you know that you've gotten caught up in it. You know the movie On the Waterfront with Marlon Brando, right? Okay, and there's one scene in that movie. Well, there's a whole bunch of scenes in that movie. He's a boxer, and he's moving up in the ranks, and he's doing really good as he's moving up. And he's got this one bout. To win this bout, to get into the ring for the championship of the world. And he gets into the ring, and he throws the fight. He throws the fight, loses it on purpose. And after it's all over, and he's cleaned up out of the locker room, he's in the back seat of the car with his buddy and brother. And Charlie, he says to Charlie, "It ain't me, Charlie. It was you. You should have looked after me a little bit. You should have looked after me just a little bit. You said I wasn't ready. It's not your night. So I took a dive. Well, you got a little cash out of it. You don't get it, Charlie. You should have looked after me for a little. I could have had class. I could have been a contender. I could have been somebody. It was you, Charlie." And it's precisely in that moment of time that Marlon Brando realizes that he has been tempted and evil has caught him and captured him, and he's caved to it, and he now looks at his life, and what is it? It has become nothing. He's no longer a contender. Even more so, he's nothing. He's not anybody. And that is how sin will tempt you and guide you into what seems to be a good thing, because after all, he was only doing what his brother Charlie and all his other friends thought he should do. Make a few bucks out of the deal, make everybody happy, especially the people that bet on him. And he thought he was having friends and would make stronger friendships and stronger family ties, but what did it do? It broke him apart. And not only did it break up his family, but it broke up his friendships, and it broke him. And that is how temptation and sin work in real life. I was talking to somebody months ago. I don't even know the person, hardly at all, except I saw him at a store, outside the store actually. And he came up to me and said, "You remember me?" I said, "No." Well, I did. No sense lying, right? It's a temptation. "Oh yeah, my good buddy," right? "Oh, come on, please cut me a break." No, it's a temptation to lie. No, you don't do that. I said, "No." I said, "Man, I'm feeling bad." I said, "What for?" "I stole a pork roast out of the store." And some other stuff. I said, "Why? What'd you do that for?" I said, "I don't know. I was just mad. I went into the store mad. I was mad at work, and I was mad at everything. So I just went in, and I put this pork roast in, and I put some other stuff in, and I just walked out and took it. And you know what? I can't hardly live with myself now because I'm not a thief. I don't steal. I'm not that kind of person. And you know what?" I said, "Yeah, I can tell you what. You're also PO'd, aren't you?" He said, "Yeah, I'm mad at everybody. I'm mad at me. I'm mad at my family. I'm mad at everybody. It's changing me because I'm having to live a lie." And this is all coming out of his own insight. And it's true. It's precisely true. He's a lion, a sack of dog meat. And that's what he knows of himself. He said, "What am I going to do?" I said, "You tell me you know what you need to do, because you are starting to lose you. It's going somewhere else." So he went into the store, and this I found out later because I asked him to call me in case he ended up in jail. Yeah, well, you never know how it's going to play out, right? So he went back into the store, took his money with him, went up to whoever he had to see, a manager or something, and said, "I walked out of the store a few weeks ago with some stuff here. This is what I took. So I got money to pay for it." And in this particular instance, I guess the store manager or whoever he talked to took the money and said, "Okay, don't ever come back here again." So instead of going to jail, he just doesn't go back there again. But you get the idea of how temptation works. You are always invited by Satan, the devil, to become something other than who you are. And the moment that you do that, that then begins the run down slope and downhill. That's what happened to in that movie On the Waterfront. C.S. Lewis, who's written any number of books, said this about sin and hell. He said, "I envision hell as the realm in which people are forever moving away from each other. Hell is the ultimate suburban sprawl." And he perfectly captured the nuance of, in the Old Testament, the word Sheol, which is translated hell. Okay, Sheol is the place where people are constantly moving away from each other and cannot find each other to recapture each other in any kind of affectionate or trusting way. In other words, you're living in a very lonely place, in a very lonely life, in very lonely ways. And when that invitation was made to Jesus in the desert, in a variety of ways, his response was always to say and anchor his life this way. His philosophy of life, his way of life, was to say, I love God. Now, he said that by talking a few scripture verses each time. But essentially he was saying, no, I love God. And to say that you love God, as Jesus did, look at what he did with his confession of saying, I love the Lord my God. It ended up in him being an outstanding mentor and teacher, right? That's what he was known for. That is what the gift of the Holy Spirit gives to you and to me. The gift to be excellent mentors and teachers to the people around us who come into our care. He also became a healer. That's something that many of you do just as a matter of course. You heal people. If somebody comes to you with a cut or something, you're going to tend to it. If somebody comes to you with a problem, you're going to take the time to talk with them. And if you're not up to taking care of them and working with them, you're going to find somebody who is. So to say that I love the Lord my God is not to just be a mouthy Christian and that's all. It means that you have made an investment of your heart and your mind in the life which has been created by God. And to be invested in life is to be invested in the well-being of the people around you and of the larger world in which we live. And that was what Satan was trying to do with Jesus, to pull him off track, away from his commitment to being a good, fully functioning human being, and also loving the people and the world in which he lived. David Brooks is a columnist for the New York Times at one time, and a Christian, said that what Lutherans say about themselves is that we are both saint and sinner, and that is true. We are both saints and sinners at the same time. And he emphasizes that we are made, this is his language, he was talking to non-Christians in his newspaper article. He says we're made of crooked timber, capable of great good, but deeply flawed. And what stands out in what his understanding of the Christian faith is that there's an inner struggle against one's own weakness. And that is the central struggle of our lives. That we are struggling against our own weaknesses and flaws. And what Jesus was able to show later in his conversation and teaching with his disciples and the other people with whom he came into contact in the Sermon on the Mount is that character, Christian character, begins with the confession, I love the Lord my God, which is to confess, I love the life that you created. The second piece is then the development of character. And that comes through our experiences in life, through our evaluations of life, a lot of which Jesus did with his teaching was really helping people to evaluate their lives and the decisions they made based on whether there was brokenness present in your actions and behaviors. Education, of course, Jesus was known as the rabbi, right? The great teacher. And the support that he and the other disciples provided each other and the people around them. But those are the ways in which we're able to live with temptation. First of all, to make your commitments to life itself. That's the very first thing. The second thing is to look for exemplars or models of the faith. And that means people who are going to be honest with you in their own struggles and trials that they have with temptation, and how they overcame it, and how they came to terms with it. The other piece, of course, is simply the gathering of wisdom through experience, and thinking through what that wisdom looks like and how it functions. But always the promise of God is that he will be with you at all place and every event of your life. And then he will alert you to the fact when you are being tempted, because you will be at that precipice when you can either make your decision that will lead to breaking and breakage and brokenness, or head into another direction in which there will be healing and the strengthening of relationships. All right, Valentine's Day is a day in which we want to be strengthening our relationships. And, whether you just do that with your significant loved ones or not, well, that's on you to figure out how you want to do it. But for the Christians, the Christian faith, Valentine's Day is really a commitment to loving life. St. Valentine, as you know, was the guy who was up in jail for talking about the faith during a time of persecution. And outside of his window of his jail was a tree that had heart-shaped leaves, either a little leaf linden, most likely. And what he would do, since he didn't have any writing instruments, he would pull leaves off of that heart-shaped tree, the heart-shaped leaves off the tree, and punch little notes that he would throw out the window and hit the ground. That's why on your little candies that you get, the words are so simple, right? Love you, love, care, things like that, simple. Well, how many holes can you poke in a leaf before you rip the leaf? Not many. So you keep it short and simple. So that's what he would do. Poke holes. Love them. Throw it out the window. Now, he also happened to have a girlfriend. But the leaves and messages were not only for her, but she passed them along, which is how we end up with the knowledge and tradition. But in any case, on the day of Valentine's, you keep in mind also the possibility alongside of it of temptation. And make your determinations as you go through your daily life, paying attention to each day, as to how you're going to make your decisions. Are you going to strengthen or break? The invitation of the gospel is to strengthen.